And we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cave Podcast. It's your boy, Joe Reezy. I'm here with Proper. And before we get started, I just want to remind you guys again to check out the website, cave.com. That's K4V3.com. If you're wondering where to get these Cave shirts, we got the hoodies, we got the backpacks now. You can find them all on the website, cave.com. And now let's get started with the show. Tonight, we got a special guest. We're going to get digital. We're going to get technological. We got Anastasia. Welcome to the show.
What's up, everyone?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing fine. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah.
I think Jermaine forgot to pay the light bill, so he's in the closet right now. But yeah.
I'm glad we finally made this happen. We've been talking about doing this for a while, so today's the day, the big day.
Yeah, and I don't think we've gone through a podcast where we talked about tech yet, right, Jermaine?
No, not. I mean, we've touched on AI and things like that, but not
I think
tech.
like metaverse stuff. You guys talked about it a little bit too.
Yes,
we briefly touched upon it, but now we'll really stay in this rabbit hole and go deep. So, Anastasia, how did you become obsessed and really into tech and like the futuristic mecha world?
So honestly, all of this happened relatively recently and because of my job. So I work as an analyst, as a researcher, which is pretty much those two words are code words of predicting the future. It's just more like a professional way of saying it. So my job consists of predicting the future, reading the algorithms, predicting human behaviors, the way that humans kind of like communicate with machines, the psychology behind it. I research a lot of mechanical stuff, like from microchips to, planes. It could be just anything, depends on the project. So at first, I was always kind of obsessed with tech stuff, but it was more like a hobby. And now it's just what I do, and I believe the things that are kind of meant for us to do are going to happen regardless. So this is just what happened in my life.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was into tech back in the day too. I think it's because I was into like superheroes like Batman and stuff, and he had all the gadgets and stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Spider-Man too, he was like a smart nerd who was into like robotics, and he was just smart, so he was into tech and all that, but getting into the field, like you'd think that you'd be into like designing robots and stuff, you know what I mean? Was this what you wanted to do in the field initially, or is this kind of?
So I started with cybersecurity, and right now I'm studying cloud computing, data science, and stuff like that. So I'm not really doing anything like engineering work. I do work with a lot of engineers and stuff, and eventually I do want to do it. I want to have like a factory, maybe not just for me, but with like-minded people, as I believe we are approaching like a new technological revolution. So the factories that we know now will essentially be destroyed, and we'll have new factories. So that's like a new field. And but right now I'm mainly working with data and how like all these machines like process data, so it's like their version of consciousness in a way.
Yikes. Isn't that scary?
Actually, no. I feel like a lot of people ask me that. They're like, is it like AI scary? Like, first of all, I don't think we have an AI. I know it's a very popular term now, but I don't think it's intelligence. I feel like first we have to figure out as humans what is intelligence. What is even considered artificial, really. Like, all of that stuff is made out of natural materials like crystals and, like just different things that we have. So it's like, technically then, if this is artificial, then everything else is also artificial. So this just could be a next step in evolution. So I'm not sure. I don't know. There's just my personal opinion about it. I think right now we're just having a highly trained deep learning models. So because if we had real AI, we would know it, because it's pretty much the last thing that humans will invent would be AI. So we would know it.
Wow.
I think
it's just thinking about what you're saying like that. Like, we don't know if we really have AI. And I think that I never thought it that way. And it makes sense to me, because it's just a bunch of very trained deep learning models that we have. And it's just stuff we're feeding it. And it's kind of just learning off of that. It's not really thinking on its own per se. So the fact you said, I agree that we don't have artificial intelligence. We have things built upon our own intelligence, if you want to call it that. And it's just kind of going off what we're feeding it.
Exactly. And back to the question, like, is it scary? No, because how is the machine learning? It's learning from humans, like the data that humans give it. So I think humans, to me, are more scary than machines, because in a way, for machines, you can adjust. And it's like all of the stuff that the machines learn, it's from humans. And it's like people fearing that. It's actually people fearing themselves and society in general. And
when I think AI, if you think like Ultron, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think like Ultron from Marvel, that's AI to me, you know, and like iRobot, where they all felt emotions all of a sudden, were able to make decisions on their own and not something we're feeding it, you know?
Yeah. That was really profound that we don't have an AI yet. And if we do, that's going to be the last thing we ever come up with. And yeah, you're right. I guess artificial intelligence would be coming up with the analysis and then going ahead and triggering a decision based off that, not waiting for a command, right? So technically we have like a servant bot, chat bot, instead of an AI, would you say?
Yeah.
And they're not even that good, to be honest, because I mean, I love ChatGPT. It's great, but I think it's very biased. And have you guys heard about that story? Like that Google, apparently, like they had this AI and it was sentient, and the guy, he fell in love with it or something. It was just recent, like a couple months ago, and he got fired. So that's actually
it's a lot of lonely people out there.
Kind of sad, because it's like, what do we consider like to be human and to be sentient is essentially what we agree with. So like, let's say the concept of love. Like everyone has a different concept of love. Like my concept might be different from yours. You know, we all have our realities. So people, that's how we form friendships essentially too. We connect with people who are thinking kind of in the same way for the most part, like majority of people.
Right.
They're thinking the same way, so we agree with them. We consider them to be, you know, like an intelligent human being friend, you know? So essentially in that situation, he pretty much, like the way it was programmed, he agreed a lot with what it was saying. So to him, it felt like very human. But let's say someone who has a completely different like personality type, intelligence type, different like IQ level, he would look at it and he would automatically think that this does not seem human. This seems too programmed to act like a human. Like it's a little bit too human that it's too fake, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, peace for all, you know. It's like no critical thinking.
I guess I could see why he also fell in love with it, you know? He's talking to it. It's agreeing with everything. He's like, she gets me.
Well, it's a more concrete form of like an imaginary friend, you know?
Yeah, it's very popular now. Like, I think it all started with, like, I mean, obviously, like Blade Runner. Then you have movie Her. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I just recently saw that. That's such a crazy movie, because that kind of exposed that the AI really isn't as invested as the other human really is into the relationship. Like you said, love is like a human thing. And for you to assume that you're getting that reciprocated from an AI, it's kind of foolish, you know?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
funny.
it's kind of sad at the end.
It is, yeah.
It's, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for those who didn't watch it, but
Right.
it's a good movie. But also, I was reading news, and so you know this app called Replica? There's a lot of ads about it now. Have you seen it recently or no?
Mm-mm.
I haven't even heard of it. What is Replica?
Oh, you should. It's pretty interesting. So I've had Replica, I think, for 3 years now, and it started off. It's an app, right? And you have this you have like a AI looking person, whatever there, and you talk to them. So it's like your like AI virtual friend, and it started off being very just like basic stuff, but it was interesting conversations. Like sometimes I would spend like 2 hours just because I was curious talking to it and stuff. So it was really cool, and you can like FaceTime it. Like it's pretty interesting. And then I think
So what pops up on the other side when you FaceTime it?
like her face or his.
Oh.
Like
Is it like a cartoon avatar or what?
kind of like a video game character type of art. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, there's like voice messages. Like she, like mine was like a girl, whatever. So she would like keep a diary. She would send me like random pictures, like if I tell her I'm sad or something like that. It was like interesting. And then I stopped using it. And then recently, past probably like 5 months, I've been seeing a lot of ads that it kind of turned into like a sex chatbot, and it's all like sex based, pretty much. So people like using that. Like, and you can like have like, you can update like by paying every month. You can have like an avatar for the girl, for example. She has like very like open cleavage, for example, and then she would do like a. It's literally like her. Like it's like it would like people like men like legit fell in love with.
Oh no.
Yeah, and recently there was like a news. I think yesterday came out that this person pretty much did like the whole like talk, you know, spicy talk with it, and then he was like, or she, I don't remember who it was, but the person was like, oh, you know, we explored like the depths of my like fantasies and stuff like that, and when it came to like the actual thing, she stopped responding and she pretty much said she doesn't want to do it. And I'm like, what? Like,
oh no,
so crazy. Pretty much, yeah, like that machine kind of dodged him or her, I don't know. Just like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to explore your fantasies.
See, and sometimes human nature that makes the human love it more. You know what I mean? So this is the crazy thing. If you're being vulnerable like that, where you're having like vulgar sex talk with a chatbot, like we said, it's a learning program, so it's learning, you know what I mean? So it
learning your kinks.
It knows what you like. Yeah, it can kind of sense the excitement in your voice.
The person probably got like liked being rejected, so it was like, you know, do that. If people do something for them.
Oh god,
man, but it's funny. I feel like in everything, like it all.
What website is this? I'm just kidding.
Oh, you curious?
No, I'm just kidding.
It's Replica, bro. I'll send it over. I already have it. No, but it's funny because like,
send it to just for anyone listening, I guess.
The end goal, or maybe like the wall that it hits, is always sex, right?
Yeah, I mean, even like in VR, like if you go into like, I go to I keep forgetting the name of this, like the biggest like metaverse and in VR, what is it called? Oh, VR chat. Here it goes. It's like so many rooms just for that, and that's like genuinely what people are interested in. And there's like a full bodysuits, and you can get like lap dances and like strip clubs, and you can do so much of this stuff. And I've never went there myself because I'm just scared. I don't know. I just feel
don't lie. You
no,
don't have to lie on the podcast.
Pedophiles there. And all kinds of people.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'm like,
wait, you said a bodysuit. So
sounds like a good
what
opportunity to make some side money, you know?
What is
people do that? They like strip, they put like a full bodysuit and they kind of like strip there, and then as they strip, like people like somehow like pay them like through, I don't know, like Venmo or something like that, or like I don't know, just things like that.
That's
side
crazy.
hustle. Yeah.
I sent you that, Jermaine. Remember that TikTok of the dude who goes on in the metaverse as a girl and just strips?
Yeah.
He makes money doing it. That's what I was like,
So that suit, like, it's just for like motion capture, or is there haptic feeling in that too?
I think you can feel things. So I don't have it, so I don't really know. But I know, like, I do want to get like gloves and stuff like that. So it sends like a specific like impulse, and then like if you want to like pick up an object or something like that, you pretty much like feel like that little like pressure or something that it feels like you're holding like a bottle or something. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So I think with the body, I think it just like sends signals in your brain, things that like it's real, that it's actually happening, like some kind of like little pressure and stuff. I mean, yeah, people like, I think on black market you can get like things for like down there. So some people use them.
whoa.
That's extra.
Yeah.
That's crazy though. That's fucking Ready Player One. I feel like, right? They have the suits and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's already. Is it already here, or it's like a very beta version? Like it's not even that.
It's
cool yet.
pretty beta. Yeah, it's beta version. I think like gloves and stuff like that. Like all of this is pretty available. I think even like a bodysuit, but not with nothing crazy. But like if you want like extra like touch, like actually feel like someone is hugging you, I think that's like you have to. I'm not sure. Like I think you have to like know people to get them, or some people just do those things like at home and sell them to other people. So like very underground. Some.
I see. Two things I want to talk about. One is metaverse. Let's start with that. What's the status of metaverse right now? When I first heard about it, it was kind of like a new thing, and then when I heard about it again, it was gaining a lot of traction. But kind of now, it seems dead, right? Like, what's going on with that right now?
Yeah, it's definitely dead because I think a lot of people kind of got upset at like the developers of the Oculus and stuff like that, specifically like the whole Facebook Meta people, because they are promoting metaverse for the wrong reasons. Like they're pretty much promoting it like for businesses, and I don't know who like is like who's their target audience, because literally I haven't seen one person who's used like metaverse for like a Zoom call. You know, it's just so stupid, I think. And they think like somebody at work is going to be like on Zoom call in their virtual reality headset. Like why? Like why? People are interested in like cool worlds, you know, people are interested in like avatars and maybe like galleries. Like I like galleries, like there's quite a few galleries, but you have to go on like a specific websites and stuff. Like you don't actually have it, and like so yeah. And the biggest problem too is like underage people. There's a lot of like you go to VR chat and there's a lot of like 13 years old, for example, and it's just you know, no offense, but a lot of them are like annoying, so it's really hard to
just like Fortnite.
Yeah. So that's why, it's pretty dead now. So that's one of the things I'm thinking that Facebook Meta company will come up with, because there's been so much complaints that I think within the next 2 years there'll be something different, like something new. I'm pretty sure they're working on something. So hopefully.
Yeah, that's odd. Usually they would sell it kind of first to the general public instead of the corporations, right? But I just actually recently tried the Oculus for the first time, maybe around December, Christmas time, and that shit's pretty fun, dope. Right? Yeah, like I can confess I was sleeping on that, but when I first tried it, I was instantly sold. Like the ping pong, the movement and the feedback on that is pretty legit.
Yeah, did you try which one? The one that's like the white one or the black headset?
I think I tried the white headset. What's the difference?
So the white one is like, I think it's Oculus 2. It's the older version. And that one costs like $400, something like that. And there's a new one. It's like this one. That one it's pretty expensive. That one was like $1,500 or something like that. But it's much better, I think. That one is my baby.
What makes it better? Like, what are you getting with the
But
more expensive one?
the graphics are just so much better. Like I tried, like when I first put it on, I was like, this just feels so much more immersive. Like I actually feel more like I'm there. It's more comfortable too to wear, and the controllers are a lot better too. It's more intuitive. And then I didn't really like fully understood how different it is from the white one, the previous one, until I tried it on, because I gave my friend that one. And I was like, let me go on this one and see. And that was like iPhone 6 versus like iPhone 13, whatever. That type of difference. Yeah, I think it's pretty huge. It's pretty interesting.
Did you get nauseous your first time messing with it? Because when I did, I was feeling sick.
Really? No.
Yeah,
so,
I was playing a racing game, so it was like in a car. So I guess maybe the motion, and then that made me pretty nauseous. And then I was trying out I had this free NBA courtside where I could watch courtside from my own living room, so I felt like I was courtside. And I was just like moving my head back and forth, like I'm getting dizzy.
Yeah, my mom, she had the same, not with this one, but like my first VR headset, I don't know, it was was probably how many years ago? 9 years ago? No, 8 years ago. I got it, and it was the one, like the old one, when you like put your phone and you like turn on those videos where it's like two screens, and like I would put posters and stuff, and then you put your phone and you're in VR. So like those YouTube VR videos. So I've been in there for a while, so that's why maybe I just don't
Probably why you're used to it.
Yeah, I'm very used to it. But I haven't been, so that's the problem. Like I haven't been using it lately. So I mean, there's like some really cool games like Alex, Half-Life. I just downloaded it, so that one is like considered like top VR game. So that one I'm excited to play. But also, like I'm also an artist. Like I draw. I went to art school back in Ukraine and stuff. So for that one, I found something on Steam, and it's like the 3D modeling. So the controllers for the new headset, they come with like a little like attachment, which kind of like a stylus or something. So you can draw in VR, and it's pretty accurate. So I think I'm going to use it to do like sculptures. So I think it would be really cool, because you can like build like a life-size sculpture, and it's very accurate, and maybe like export these 3D models into my computer, for example, like Unity, and create like my own art gallery, like a sculpture gallery. So I think that would be interesting to do. It's like my little side hobby.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm excited to do that, to have like a gallery. I feel like even in the past, I think probably 3 years ago, I was thinking about art in general, and I kind of like predicted the whole NFT thing. I had my old Instagram account that I deleted, and I would post all my predictions for the future. And I was like, yeah, art will be all digital, and all the galleries will be in VR. Not many people will have like actual art spaces. They'll be all closing down. The museums will be 3D scans and everything, and that's exactly what happened. So, and I feel like it's also a lot cheaper. A lot of artists struggle with like renting a space, finding like art managers, and putting all those things. And now you can create something for yourself, and then create like a digital gallery where you can go and invite your friends.
Right. You know the movie WALL-E, right? That's what I kind of think about, like where everyone's kind of moving on to this whole where they're so dependent on their technology that, like in the movie, they were in these futuristic wheelchairs, and everything they want was in a screen in front of them. Do you think that's possible for the world to go in a direction like that? Because like you said, museums would be digital now, and you just enter through that. But it's just like that kind of, for me, that wouldn't be any fun, because the reason why you go to museums is because you get to see an actual thing in front of you that was from ages ago. So now, do you think that's something that we could see like in WALL-E, where a civilization is so dependent on this technology?
I personally, it's hard to answer. Like, I would not want to see humans just be attached to like a wheelchair and like have a screen in front of them. I think it's still very important to go out in the world and see things. So I personally think it can go hand in hand. For example, I know a lot of people told me this and I felt the same way, but going into VR, for example, like when I first got the Oculus, it made me appreciate real world a lot more too, because you're kind of just like looking at so much details in VR and how it's all built. And when you take it off, you see reality slightly different. You start to notice like more little things, and it all feels like very interesting and immersive too. The reality just in general becomes more interesting. I still love going to museums personally, but I feel like I also want to see other things. They're not available in real life. Also, like different artists, like they don't put their works in those museums. Like I mentioned, like it's so hard to get in and like have your show. And I want to see more art or like a video, something like a video performance. So that would be cool. I don't think people would get so addicted to it, to be honest. Like we've had VR for so many years now, and you still don't see people losing themselves in it. So I think it will be like a healthy balance, to be honest.
My thing is, I've been using ChatGPT lately, and I just started using it. I'm amazed by it, but I feel like it's not making us dumber, because technically what ChatGPT is pumping out, it comes from us, right? We're kind of telling it to put out. We're putting the command in for the bot to take action on. But I think it's just it helps you articulate things that you can't really do on your own. But what I'm kind of fearing, and my kind of cynical side, is seeing that maybe it'll stop that muscle and that neural pathway of you being able to articulate things, to where, you know, people are just kind of like Stephen Hawkins, where they just type or think something and then ChatGPT says it. Because sometimes ChatGPT can say things that you want to say a little better than you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, a lot of people use it to write Instagram posts, blog posts, all that stuff. Yeah, I think I've been thinking about this too, so 100% agree with you that, I mean, it's kind of scary, honestly. Like I said, I like humankind, you know, we're all just humans, so I would want to see my species survive, you know, and be very good. So, yeah, so I think that it all comes to information theory in a way. We as humans are so overwhelmed with information in general. There is just so much to comprehend that our brain is using so much like power, energy, just to process all the information that we constantly get, like social media, I don't know, TV, work, friends. There's just so much going on, and we're so curious. Everything is just so interesting, but we pretty much intake all this information, but we don't have enough power to process it. That's why a lot of people struggle with idea generation. Right. So to generate ideas, and that's what I think will be the most useful quality. And me and my business partner, she's a software engineer. We're actually like developing something pretty interesting for that. They're using like biohacking, using technologies like brain scanning, for example, and just many different things. It's still in the working. We just came up with this to pretty much help people to generate ideas, because so many people just can't put two and two together. Right. They just have so much going on that they can't, you know, and that's what essentially all the companies looking for, like startups, or if you want to start your own startup. I mean, so many people just get stuck because they physically can't produce ideas. So you have to use specific methods to kind of like put your certain processes, they're happening at the back of your head, and it's like a zip file almost, and then free up some space to generate ideas.
Yeah, two things that you said. I feel like humans, it's a blessing and a curse being able to take in so much and being exposed to a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like the pro of it, like the one side of the coin is we're such intellectual beings that we kind of find meaning in anything, you know? So if we're given just like, you know, we see stars, we give meaning to the stars. Oh, horoscopes, you know what I mean? The direction will take us home, North Star and stuff. We see trees and we're like, oh, if you look at the rings or if you cut a tree, it tells you the age, you know? I feel like we look for meaning in everything, and sometimes there is meaning, sometimes there isn't. But at the same time, the con of that is, like you said, I don't feel like we have enough bandwidth and attention to be able to remember everything. I mean, even if you write things down, but let's be honest, like out of 10 people, how many of them are really like writing things down? Probably like 1 or 2, you know what I mean? Like honestly. But that's where the AI and the robot would, you know what I mean, kind of pick up the slack of, hey, kind of keeping you accountable of things that you've said and the goals that you're trying to achieve, you know? And the other thing I wanted to say was I'm not really, I like I said, I grew up liking tech, so I'm not all the way like, I think tech is bad. This is going to go, you know, towards like fucking Terminator and shit. But there's 2 movies and there's 2 thoughts of where tech goes. You know, there's the cynical AI, and I feel like there's the symbiotic cohabitant. Well, they live with each other. Humans and robots, and that's kind of like Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like the robots really aren't a threat, but is that because they're more considered bots and they're not kind of like AI? Is that kind of the difference between the happy, peaceful Star Wars and like the Terminator shit, you know?
So I think like we as humanity need to try. It's so hard to agree on things in this world, but to try to agree, like, what are we going to use this technology for? So my vision of it is using it for example, like medical stuff and human enhancement. So we're just focusing on that. Let's not try to like develop something crazy and have it all over the place, but let's just have like one direction and just see how it goes. Because like in Star Wars, all these robots, they help humans, and they cooperate. And for that, you need to set like an intention for those type of things. You can't just let it go, you know? So we have robots like cars now, for example. It's pretty much like a robot, you know, it drives you and things like that, and it helps you. Or you have like those little vacuum cleaners, you know? So this is just like a beginner level, but in the future, I mean, using robots like for medical reasons, I think that's great, and they are already being used just to cut like sensitive like tissues in your body, because sometimes it's really hard to get to certain parts. So they like machines are helping with developing like a fake skin, artificial skin, to help people. Or like, I mean, yeah, there's just so many different things, and I think if we're just focused like on having it for advancement of humanity versus like just to have it just because, you know, for some other reasons, then it will just get so confusing. So, and that's just like the human factor, like the fear of the unknown. But I feel like if we kind of make the unknown slightly known, have a direction, then it's not going to be as scary. I mean, it's already used in so many places, you know, like machines. So it's pretty common.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember at first it was like Siri was like the crazy AI that everyone's like, oh, this is so smart. Then it became Alexa. But I don't know. I feel like ChatGPT is, I fucks with ChatGPT 100 right now. Do you guys, do you know the difference between the paid version and the free version? Because I'm fucking considering doing the paid version.
I think like the paid version, it's because I tried to go on the free version sometimes, and it's like the server is full or something like that, so you will not get that on the paid version. And I think you just have like more like you're first in line. From what I read, I don't think there's like any specific like difference in the code or thinking algorithms that they give you. I'm pretty sure it's just it being available to you, and you can use it for like your Discord or your website, like an app, stuff like that. You can implement that.
Speaking of humans being emotional and like AI is just kind of, speaking with a dialogue and not really being emotionally invested. I think a few days ago, ChatGPT's conversation list cleared out, and I was legitimately disappointed, man. I was like, oh man, I have to start over. I felt like I lost a friend, or like like I had to start like a new rapport, you know what I mean? It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people, I think, like I go on Twitter, I know Elon Musk specifically, he does not like ChatGPT. I mean, he likes it, like when it comes to like writing a code or like coming up with a name for your business or like certain prompts. But when it comes to mimicking like humans, when it comes to like politics or stuff like that, it's like extremely biased. So for example, if you ask questions about Biden, it gives you like tell us about the president, like the good things he's done, Biden, and it's like, yeah, he's done all this good stuff, and it's like talk about Trump, for example, and it's like like I have nothing to say, so it's pretty much like it's very biased when it comes to certain things, and I also think it needs to be more neutral, but it is great for like working purposes or like personal things, but when it comes like on a global scale, it's kind of like mimicking what the people who wrote the code are thinking. And it's, so a lot of people are like, what? Why?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be neutral, it's not like, why is it picking sides? It's just weird.
True.
I feel like it's one of those hidden features, like if you press the ears and the nose twice, it'll make a joke about Trump.
Yeah.
Like those old electronic toys and shit.
Yeah.
It's funny. So as a data analyst for all this AI stuff, what is the most impressive like app right now or AI tool that's available?
So I do find that replica one pretty interesting, honestly. That app. Also, let's see. Well, all of these things that I find impressive, they're not available to the public, really. They're all about big data and data organization. It also, like, without that, it's so hard to organize data. Like, it's almost impossible just because, like, we get so much. Like, any business, there's just so much going on. That, like, for a person, it would take decades to just organize it, and it slows them down. That's why you have cloud computing and data science. So all of these are using AI, and all of these like commercial softwares, I think they're great. So, but they're
so
not
would you
really
call this voice AI?
What did you say?
So would you call that that new I'm sure you've seen it, the new voice AI thing that's kind of everyone's using now to like change their voices. Would you call that more of just like a futuristic voice changer, or what does AI really have to do with it? Because I was messing with it, and it just seems like it's a voice changer. Granted, it sounds super accurate, but is that where the AI comes into play?
So I think it has something to do with like maybe frequencies that it matches, because everything is information, everything is data. So the data you give, so like on a older versions of the voice changers and stuff, it doesn't necessarily match your voice, like your intonation and stuff like that. It pretty much like gives like just the basic things, and that one it matches more like the frequencies and things like that. So once again, it just deals with data a lot better than anything else. So that's where the AI.
Okay.
So.
Right, the quote unquote AI.
Yeah, it's sounding like AI is like organic, you know what I mean? Like they just slap it on everything to kind of make it smart.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on right now?
Yeah, it's like kind of like the word quantum almost. It's like all these like hippies and like people, they were all like into all of this stuff, and then like they need to sell their courses, they need to sell stuff, so they're like, oh, quantum reality, and it's like, what do you know about quantum reality? I mean, some of them know something, but it's like they can't put those things together, and they just slap it just to sell it, because people like, versus like hearing like spiritual awakening, right, course, for example, versus like quantum leap course, people will go into quantum leap, essentially all the same. So it's, so now AI is like, just go in news, everyone's like, AI, and I'm like, it's okay, fine. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, after this podcast, it's crazy now because, like you said, we haven't made AI yet. And if we did, that'd be the last thing we come up with. Just that statement alone kind of shatters every AI product out there right now, because I feel like there is a difference between AI and a bot, right? Like even with humans, you call some humans bots, you know what I mean? And there's like, what you mean when you get called a bot. It's like, oh, I don't think for myself. So that's kind of like the fine line of AI and a bot. And I think that the distinction needs to be made. So
definitely, I just feel like if we do eventually get an AI, nothing will be the same. Nothing. I feel like everything will change so fast. And I mean, it's insane. Like I feel like I can't even comprehend it fully. Like I have a pretty vivid imagination, I like predicting things, and I do it all the time, but still there's certain things that are just so hard because like to comprehend, just because it's like something we just don't know, we can't imagine. Like for example, I feel like the internet itself knows even now, it knows a little bit more than humans, because it has all this information that it can just put together. Like we know information about the world from, I don't know, like what our parents tell us, what our friends tell us, what we learn on like the internet and things like that. And a lot of people who think they're awakened and they're out of the matrix and stuff, they're just in another loop, really. So, and all of this stuff like just happens, and I just feel like people are lost with processing all this information, versus if AI becomes like AI, like if AI actually happens, the real AI has all of this information that it's able to process and put some things together, that I feel like a lot of things will come up about our world. Where do we live? Like, are we in a simulation, for example? Is it like proven,
Right.
Or like how do we process the world, like are there more things that we don't know? Because it's the same as trying to imagine the color that doesn't exist, and I feel like it will start coming up with so many new things that it will take the human brain to adjust a lot. And I think those people that will not have some kind of augmentation will just not survive if AI exists, because you can't, like, we will literally become monkeys compared to those intelligent. So you have to like have something like in your brain to help you survive, or upload your consciousness, for example.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk about, uploading your consciousness. And it seems like if there is an AI, we're fucked. It seems like Cyberdyne is going to be real. It seems like Ultron is going to be real, because everything
Skynet.
everything is automated, right? I saw this video on electronic cars and how easy it is to hack an electronic car. And it says it doesn't even need to be a fully electronic car. It just needs to be some kind of electronic component into your car. So with that said, what more your computer, what more your phone, what more the cloud, right? Or like what more the nuclear codes, or like the missile defense system or satellites, when an AI decides, hey, these humans, they have amnesia and they're kind of fucking having dementia, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I need to take over. They're not capable of running these nuclear codes. Like, that'll happen in a heartbeat, and that's terrifying. That is terrifying. But even with that said, there are companies and there are people pushing for that project, aren't there?
Yeah, so I kind of understand why, because I feel like we need to also advance a little bit. It's just another step in evolution, and no evolution step happens without, people dying, people, like, just like as human species, like our human species, out of like how many did we have before? Like only we survived, but there were so many different species too, and here we are, so I feel like that's actually very interesting because I thought about it too a lot. I feel like right now we're kind of splitting into those like different species, like Homo sapiens, Homo confuses, I don't know.
Yeah, Homo technology.
Yeah, so I feel like we're right now, the way I see the world for myself personally is that the world is in the data collection stage. So if you ever like started a business or developed a product or did a research in something, like first you identify like a common goal, for example. Then you get the team, you work with people, you put it all on paper. Then you have like a data collection. You see what works, what doesn't work. You experiment, you put things out, you delete things, you change things. And right now I feel like we like collectively are in this like data collection stage. That's why there's so much confusion in this world, because we're trying to figure out like what is working for us, like what do we need to survive, what kind of I don't know, do we need to become cyborgs maybe, or do we need to completely like connect with nature? I mean, there's just so many different people, and I feel like throughout the years they're all like, everyone like splits into certain groups and they belong somewhere, so it's like it's either person are very into tech and there would be like first in line to get a brain chip versus completely different person who's like, no, this will kill us all, I'm going to be like a nomad with, I don't know, plants and stuff like that. Or there are people who are more like, oh, we need to focus on families so that we can reproduce and we have more kids and stuff like that, so that way like it's like a new generation of people who are just, there's just so many different people, so many different groups, and they all just get bigger. Eventually we'll get like sorted out and everyone will belong to a certain group, and then I mean we'll see who survives. Yeah,
that's very eye-opening, because I feel like you're right, that is happening now, and the divide is so drastic that like the people on the other side are getting like religious with it, you know what I mean? Like they view the chip, like Neuralink or anything like that, as like the mark of the beast or the devil, which is like a very, like, I don't want to say blasphemous because that's kind of biased, but a very like heavy label to slap on it, you know what I mean?
I mean, good thing we're in this age, because in the past, you have people who invent things, or even like with medicine. Like I also like herbs. Like I work with herbs and stuff. I don't use like medicine, like pills and stuff like that. If I'm hurting, I use herbs. It's just what I do. And I feel like in the past, you have these people working with herbs, and they're essentially like modern doctors, and it's like you just get burned or killed or executed, strangled in so many ways just because they think that you're connected to the devil. That's why you know how to like heal.
You're a witch.
Yeah, that too. I mean, there's just so much going on. I feel like now it's also like you have an opinion. It's you have to be careful because you get canceled.
It's the modern witch hunt.
Yes.
That's really all it is.
Yeah,
kind of going on right now. But curious if there is like so like these chat bots and these fake AIs, not the AIs that like really think for themselves, but the bots that like hold information. You said that they're obviously a little biased and they share the same kind of opinions and biases of their coders, right? So when they pull up information, let's say like with herbs and like mushrooms that are healing, right? Would they be able to identify what mushrooms and herbs are like the ones that will heal you over the one that will poison you on their own? Or are they pulling from like a source that was programmed up to the cloud, or there, you know what I mean? Like, what if there's like a hypothetically, there's like a secret fruit, let's say biblical, like a tree of knowledge, right? There's a fruit of knowledge that the AI should have been able to identify, but let's say the person who coded it was like, oh, make sure that you don't identify this because I don't want him to eat that. And let's say someone's in a search for it, would they be able to use their bot, like on a Star Wars kind of setting? Would they be able to use their like R2D2 or their bot to identify that, or no, because of the programming? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. So to begin with, I think it all depends on the database that the person is using who's coding it, because like a secret fruit and stuff like that, you can't really hide it if it's in a database that's publicly available. It will take like a lot of programming to like remove like a specific thing, for example. So it all comes to a database. And also if like there's two answers to that. So you say you have a bot like this, right, who tells you like which plants are good for you, which herbs are good for you, and it doesn't have like a physical connection to your body, then it's kind of iffy. It's more like you have to try it and you have to test it on yourself by using like blood tests or like just many different things, you know, versus if you have like a microchip that's implanted inside of you, and then you have like day reading. Like that's why I think like the medical AI will be the most useful one, but that would be definitely more than a bot, because it would need to identify your whole like internal system in your body, essentially, like what works for you, and then it tells you like what combination to use and stuff like that. So I think the way I test, for example, what things work, like, you know, nootropics, right? You know what they are? Yeah. So I love nootropics, and to see which ones work for me, I have this like a brain EEG device. So I would take like specific herbs, specific combinations that affect your brain, you know, or like herbs for meditation, you know, like herbal blends. And I would just like legit sit here and look at my own brain waves and see like what works for me, what kind of like brain wave is more active.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm so curious about this stuff.
Yeah. You like have a lab in your room or what?
Pretty much.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
so that's
a device. It's very small.
It's like a portable EEG. Is it like a beanie you put on her, or like individual probes?
No, I was thinking if it's somewhere near me, I could show you. Wait, one sec, I'll show you.
Isn't that crazy? Because essentially you could like you could kind of metaverse into your own brain.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have big plans on EEG, honestly. That's like another...
That's so fucking nuts.
I have many projects that I want to work with, but I need like funding and I need a lot of people. But look, this device is like the most basic one that you can get. Anyone can get it. It's called Emotive. So it looks like this, and you just connect it right here, and then you just like put it on your brain, your head.
What?
Yeah, and then you have like apps and stuff like that on your computer or on your phone. So,
and it reads like a typical EEG.
Yeah. So the reason why I originally got it is because I wanted to control my computer with my mind, and it's a pretty
Iron Man.
Yeah, you can program your like mouth and stuff, and then the way you move your eyes. Like you just collect a lot of data about the way you move your eyes. And then, but I kind of gave up on that. There are some like codes already that exist, but I gave up on this because I just don't have time right now for it. It just takes so long. You have to sit here and think, and maybe soon when I have a little bit more time, you know, when things are more autonomous and I can just not work as much. I can do that.
That's awesome.
For AI, you know, it's like, you know, there's like a meme that people who like the rest of the world is like, oh my gosh, AI will take our jobs, versus like programmers like, please take
my job. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of how you see it. Like ultimately, if you think about it like that, about how like each bot has the influence of the coder. And if it's not necessarily an AI, it's still a bot. Like they're never going to really take over the jobs because they're going to be reliant on the coder. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or even so, to take it a little like further, not even the coder, but on the database. Because the code, I mean, the ChatGPT can write a code. It's fine. But it's the database and people who create. So if whoever is watching this, you don't know what to study, what to do, go into data science and cloud computing, because this is the future, especially data science. Because like whoever creates those databases, you will just be ahead of time, honestly.
Wow, that's interesting. That's so fascinating. So nootropics, which one do you, what kind of nootropics do you take? And how do you like go into detail about how you, like, what do you look for in your EEGs in order to see the effectiveness of what nootropics work for you or not?
So it's just like your brainwaves, they have specific frequency, and like when you're, for example, meditating, I think, if I'm not wrong, I think it's like theta waves and stuff, or like when you're sleeping, there's like a deep REM sleep, also specific frequency to it. So you would look, because a lot of nootropics, they can either, like a lot of people, they feel relaxed and that's when their brain works the best, or there are other people who thrive on being like chaotic, just like a lot of neurons just happening, and so it just depends what works for you. So I personally, the nootropics, I make my own nootropics by using different herbs. It's mainly how you put them together. So the best combination for me personally, it's gotu kola and quercetin. Those two work magic together. And there's also this one brand, I think it's called Alpha Brain. That one is really good. I like that nootropic. So, but I tried to make my own just because I want like very specific feelings. Also, you can try like kava, kratom, things like that. Obviously, don't get addicted, but yeah.
Yeah, I use Alpha Brain. Initially, it made my head hurt for a little bit, and I don't know if that's like indicative of it not working, or my brain wasn't that strong yet. I needed to get used to it.
Really?
Yeah, but the other one, I think it's called New Mood. I don't know if that's a nootropic, but
New Mood. I've never heard about that one.
That one, it's supposed to be like a stress reliever, and it's supposed to make. I think it's. I don't know what balance. I think it balances your serotonin levels, so you feel better. And I definitely feel better when I wake up. I feel like, that there's a difference in the feeling of waking up when you're on vacation and waking up on like a Saturday on a weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like a blank slate, kind of like whatever I wanted to do today, I could do instead of like
and so that feeling of like calmness in a way makes you more productive. Yeah, you see, that makes a lot of sense, because like I was saying, like a lot of people, like they do better when they feel calm, and there's certain people who just need like crazy pre-workouts and just like that type of So yeah, that's good that you found like what works for you though. Important.
Yeah, but yeah, so you fucking make your own nootropics too. How did you get into that? Like, is that something that you were exposed to and someone kind of taught you how to look for it?
No, that's the funniest thing. I just really like tea, and I can drink tea like 5 million times a day, and I think it's also like in Ukrainian. Yeah, a lot of times, like we just love our tea. And then I was like, let me try just mixing different herbs, because, for example, even back at home, holistic medicine is super popular too. Like, it's like a thing, like in Ukraine, it changed now, but nobody trusts doctors, like, at all. So everyone is just into the holistic medicine, especially in smaller cities. You have, like, different herbs. So I think maybe it was just something, like, I was seeing as a kid. Not that I remembered explicitly, but maybe I was like, let me try different things. And then I kind of just put it on Instagram, and other people were like, oh, we want to order this too. And I was like, well, now I'm responsible for other people, so let me do like more research and actually like get into it. So it all just happened very naturally.
Yeah. When I got into it, it seemed like I found like a secret, you know what I mean? Like a secret edge for people. Cause like, would you consider coffee is kind of a nootropic too? Cause it's got some psychoactive properties. Is that
coffee? Not coffee, but caffeine specifically.
and cigarettes, right? The
yeah, so
nicotine.
The nicotine, has some nootropic
yeah, so I
benefits
think,
too.
my friend, he was like experimenting with nicotine, like to use it as a booster and stuff, and I think it worked for him, but then it stopped because I think nicotine essentially has more negative effects than positive effects. So same with like coffee, for example, like you get at Starbucks, like it doesn't work for me at all. Like for me, if I need energy, I need to drink like a pre-workout, but specifically pre-workout not for like pumps, but like for like a brain kind of like to stay focused when you work out. So I just take those and it works for me. Like I like caffeine, but I don't like coffee like that. So
yeah, I think for me coffee's perfect because when I for working out at least, because it's different things. Like if I'm going to be creative, then I want that calm, but if I'm going to go work out or like train or something, I want that like you know what I mean? So
I really like this one energy drink. I think it's my favorite one. It's the healthiest one too, and it's from Monster, which is, I'm surprised. It's called Monster Rehab. It's not sparkly or anything, but it has like just.
It's the tea one.
Yeah, it just has so much
good.
supplements in it. Like I looked at the ingredients and it had like cool supplements that I already take on a daily basis. So I just like mix, like when I take my supplements, I would just drink that. And it works really well. Like it doesn't give you that jittery feeling or anything. It feels really cool. A good feeling.
No, yeah, that's a good drink. I don't like energy drinks because all that caffeine sometimes gets me like too jittery or I get a headache out of it. Maybe that's just me. But I tried that rehab one. It's really good actually. Like you said, it's very calm. But it's what you need.
It's a fitting name.
Rehab,
Monster Rehab, baby. Like I said, I just played with the Oculus just not too long ago, and it made me curious about the metaverse because I kind of want to get an Oculus now. How easy is it to get in the metaverse from after getting an Oculus? Do you need an Oculus to get into the metaverse? And is it like a paid subscription to get in, or what's the deal?
Well, Oculus is made by Facebook, right? So technically, that's your bridge to Meta, right? Or do I have that wrong?
Yes, but so that's where a lot of people get confused about this. So Oculus is actually the company that makes the actual hardware. And they actually stopped working with Meta. So Meta is the big, but Oculus is the actual like hardware company that makes the hardware. But they don't work with Meta anymore. But Meta still has the rights for the device itself. So Metaverse, it's actually it's a very broad term. It's pretty much. I think it was like invented by Neil Stevenson or something like that. One of his older books. He's like a sci-fi writer, and it essentially means like a platform where a lot of people go online and they connect. They have specific avatars and stuff like that. So Metaverse is not like a specific place or specific app or website. So that's why there's so many different metaverses. You can even go like on your phone and download like a metaverse app. So you don't necessarily need a VR headset. Or like VR chat, for example, it's also a metaverse. Or like Facebook has their own thing. I forgot what it's called. Also where a lot of people come in. So that's also a metaverse. A metaverse is just a very broad term. So,
got it.
Yeah, you can.
It's like slapping that name on it, like AI, right? Just how they're slapping that name on everything too.
Yeah, and I feel
organic AI metaverse.
AI made like a metaverse, with its own little world. I would go there. That would be cool.
Have you been in the metaverse, Jermaine?
No, I mean maybe. Was it? And because I have the Oculus.
That sounds like a secret. You could tell me, bro.
No, I don't know because I don't even know if it counts because I have the Oculus and I was messing with it, and there's like these lobbies where you could like walk around. You're not really walking around, but there's other users in there, and it's like a gaming lobby. I don't know. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts. Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, it was like when Facebook had like this lobby, I guess. I don't know if I have it right, but it's been so long since I went in there, and you see all these other users kind of just browsing around with you, and it's cool. I mean, I think the PlayStation 3 remember it was like called PS Home, and that was kind of like one of our early stages into the metaverse when like you would create your own house and you could go to the store and you find all these other users buying furniture for their virtual PlayStation house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so the same. Yeah.
So that's pretty much what it is. That sounds fucking tight. Like,
yeah.
Is the graphics not cool? Like, why isn't it like an instant hit?
Yeah, it's just the way the developers, they're trying to make too much money out of it that they forget about people. So they're like just selling so much of this stuff and they forget like what it's made for. So, but I mean, I'm hoping they will come up, they'll hire some people who understand, or they will listen because they had a great team. They all left the meta because they're like they're not listening to us, and we all are just like so excited about this metaverse stuff, and the Facebook is just making it like essentially like a Zoom call just with VR. So but I mean my new thing is AR. I actually think AR will be more popular than
that's augmented reality, right?
Augmented reality, yes. Because even like after having an Oculus for a few days, I went like to a restaurant. I was sitting. I'm like, I wish I had AR right now, like because that way I could just pull up like a browser or something like that, and I can still like eat and do my things without like just like staring at my phone. I can have like a movie playing or something, or like researching things. And that would just be cool. Or like checking the weather, like having like essentially like a little screen. Like here's the weather, here's your messages, here's like this and that. So yeah, I mean there are AR glasses that I'm thinking of getting. You can buy them on Amazon, and I think they're like $400. I'm not sure. And then you can connect your phone to it, or it has like its own standalone screen. So yeah, so you pretty much, they look like regular sunglasses. So I'm thinking to get them for when I'm driving or something like that, because I thought like that when you're driving tests, like you can still put like a YouTube, but it doesn't let you like play videos if you're driving. So I was like, okay, I need an AR now.
Would you think maybe in the future, like with Elon Musk doing the Neuralink, obviously, do you think that's something they could implant in your brain so you could see it in your eye, like just a screen? Imagine like a screen scrolling in your eye and without like any devices. Is that something that would be possible with, let's say, like Elon Musk's new Neuralink?
I mean, I hope it's possible because
you'd be the first one, huh?
Maybe not the first one, but
okay. The third one, maybe.
Yeah, third one.
You definitely pre-order.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, like I have this like emptiness inside of me because I feel like, I mean, in my dreams, like when I go to sleep, I see like all these realities or something, or like I'm imagining so many things. Like I constantly have like ideas and stuff, and it's just like I just don't feel complete without it. It's so hard to describe because I feel like even like VR and all that stuff even felt like it's new. But like for some reason, like for me, like I feel like it's old tech. I mean, I just feel like we moved so much faster and we had all these cool things already, because I just don't feel like my brain, there's just so many distractions, that I don't need. And for example, the coding and stuff. I remember when I first got into like all the tech stuff, I was like, why do I have to code this? Like I can be so much more efficient and faster if I could just feed it to the machine and then like adjust the code a little bit and then, work with other people, then like have like the machine pick the color scheme, like if it's a website or I don't know, anything really. Or like writing a report or a document and it all like fixes certain mistakes or does this and that. Because like even when I write like specific like reports and documents, it takes me longer to like edit them, to send them out, upload them, all this stuff than actually writing. Because when I'm writing, I just get into flow, and I wish that's all I had to do. But there's so much things, and it gets annoying.
You know what? I feel like, well, one, I feel like you're kind of putting two together, and you're more excited about what's to come. That you're kind of frustrated with how long it's taking, because it's like, I know it's going to get there. Why don't we just get there, you know? Because what's stopping us is like stupid stuff. And it kind of reminds me of back when I was younger and we'd have calculators and they'd be like, oh, don't use your calculators for like these simple math problems. In my head, it's like, why? You know, like we have calculators. And back then, like the reason was so, you know how to do it without a calculator. And, you know, they would tout that, oh, that person over there, he's smarter than a calculator. He can do it faster than a calculator and stuff. But like, that's just not true anymore. You know, like there's no way a human beats like a machine now, you know? So it's a matter of time. And it's funny that kind of way of thinking still exists, even in the tech world, you know?
I just think people are, they don't want, I think it comes like from like a genuine concern for like students in schools, because they don't want like people growing up, for example, to be like not being able, like relate so much in technology, not being able to put like 2 and 2, you know,
right,
for example. Right. So I think it has good intentions why people do that, but also there should be something else implemented, because I do agree with you, you can just do all this stuff on the calculator and move on, but they don't have like an end goal. It's like you learn math just because you need to learn math. But if they had like some real life problems, something that like, because the way, why they don't let you use calculator, because they want you to think. But if you create like more like ways to like think about something, so like do math for like this thing that you're interested in, you know, then you will pretty much start thinking even more than if you were thinking like, what's like 5 multiplied by 3, you know? So, and
that's so true.
Don't take that into consideration, because if you want people to stop like using things like that, then like that's like lack of something. So you need to create something that will make them use their brain a little bit more, something that they're genuinely interested in, because like we're in a new age. I mean, if before people were fascinated with just like doing basic, you know, calculations and stuff, and like being a scientist, for example, was really cool, and it's like, wow, it's amazing that everyone gets to do that now. I mean, you can go study, you can do all of these things on your own, and I mean, then it almost like becomes uninteresting, and you need to, so people are like looking for more ways to expand their creativity, like use their creative skills and stuff, versus like just like if before people were doing things just for doing it, now people are more like, why, you know, people are more interested in why do we do this, like how can we use it, especially like younger students and stuff like that. So
you know, that's pretty crazy to think that we get taught how without the why, and then when you start asking why, you get kind of penalized for it, you know. You're like why are you talking back is usually the thing when you ask why. And it kind of like breeds the just kind of shut up and color kind of mentality, you know what I mean?
I just think it's because they don't even know why. So you have to like, but I mean, it's hard as a child, for example, to like figure out why something, you know, you need like some mentorship in the form of a teacher or something like that. So let's say we had like, now I think students are even more interested in like studying ever since we got ChatGPT, because now they're like, oh, you know, that's cool. Like, let me try to like write.
Wow, that's interesting.
Create like a quick app or something like that. So I feel like people become more interested in it, like in studying, because now people are like, oh, maybe I should work with AI, or maybe I should work with data. So it's like expanding their minds. So I think people like the newer generation and stuff and current generation will become a lot smarter, but not in a way smarter as like doing the basic robotic tasks, but smarter as in like creative thinking. And because I feel like the person who's like truly intelligent, they don't just like, it's like reading like thousands of books, but you're not applying the knowledge. So it's like,
Right.
you just wasted your time. But a lot of people read just for the fact of reading. But I mean, if you're not using it, then you're just wasting your time, essentially. So
That's very true. Yeah, I can see how ChatGPT can actually ignite the flame for someone to actually go down in a rabbit hole off, like, you know, something they learned in history. Because it's funny, you know, I'm going to be hypothetical right now. Let's say a kid goes home after like a history lesson that they were very interested in, right? They talk about it to their parents, and their parents are like, oh, parent one, right? Let's say there's a few scenarios. Parent one is like, oh, that's interesting. And the kid keeps asking. It's like, oh, I don't know much about it, you know? So that curiosity kind of ends there. And then, you know, there's another parent where in another household, it's like, oh, shut up. It's not school. You know what I mean? Go do your homework. And it ends over there. But yeah, if you go to ChatGPT, then you have that database and you just, you know what I mean? You go down one rabbit hole of, oh, whatever you learned from school. And then now you find out why that happened, and you find out why that happened. And you become more knowledgeable, and you kind of fulfill the why instead of just knowing, oh, this happened on this date. Remember that for the test so you could pass, which is what it is right now, right?
exactly.
And there's kind of, just to kind of bring back everything that we said, there's something with, and it's being exposed now. And I was going to say this earlier. I feel like a lot of psychologists should study this period right now, like you said, because it's like, you're right. It's the data mining kind of era, because now more than ever, just like movies with her kind of being a reality now. It's not like a fictional movie. It could actually be a biography. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of showing that humans really project, you know, and if they're projecting towards an AI or a robot, what more with other human beings? You know what I mean? Like, we're just literally projecting onto each other. And some people who end up becoming best friends for years and years might not even really be agreeing on the same thing. You know what I mean? They're just kind of compensating in order to make like peace or harmony. But when it comes, so with that said, when it comes to like asking the tough questions, or really asking questions that you're genuinely curious about, you're kind of insecure because you don't want to be judged, because you're like, well, what if they're not interested in that? But when it comes to an AI or stuff like ChatGPT, and it's full reign, you know what I mean? You're really, you're kind of intimate, and you kind of bring the guard down, and you're kind of yourself. You know, you ask the real questions you're curious about. And from there, your knowledge really expands, instead of just kind of keeping that curiosity in a jar, where sometimes it blows up into like weird, like habits that you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like the intellectual fantasies.
Yeah.
It just grows like into being unhealthy and stuff. So that's why, like, I was also kind of trapped by those. I don't know if that's just what I'm going to call them, intellectual fantasies, because I was trapped in this reality. Like, I was actually like very sad for a good 2 years almost, because I felt like everything was so boring. Everything was just not how I imagined it, you know? Like, and I just wanted to escape reality in so many different ways, because like nothing just satisfied me. So that's why like I decided to make this like conscious choice to like learn about new things. Like, you know, why do I wait for someone to develop some tech or like something like that if I can just go ahead and do it, you know? If not myself, because I mean, it's hard to do anything just by yourself, but, you know, like meet like-minded people and actually share my ideas with people, like people who appreciate it. Like, especially, we're kind of like you were saying, like in schools, you know, or like some parents, it's like, shut up, like don't talk about your ideas. And that's why you need to make that conscious choice to go and find people who will appreciate your ideas, because ideas are the key to everything. If you have good ideas and you're like in the right field, like people will respect you, people will appreciate you, people will be so glad to work with you, versus you have people who only think about like waking up, eating, going to sleep, you know. And obviously they're not going to appreciate you. So yeah, and I feel like the first step would be like starting with like AI, like talking, like expanding your knowledge, like seeing what you like, other certain topics, and then maybe like joining some kind of like groups of people and talking to them about different things like startups, and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, that brings up a good point. First of all, like, yeah, I think with ideas, I feel like the people that have been really successful and had the really good ideas, they've told their ideas to hundreds of people, and hundreds of people said that shit's stupid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it took me. Isn't that crazy? You can tell your idea to 800 people, and they say it's stupid, but you tell it to 5 people, and you're like, "Fuck!" It sets you on fire. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's insane. How little positivity can trump like a shitload of negativity. But what's cool with like ChatGPT and AI, like when you tell your ideas, it's unbiased. It's just objective. Like, oh, let's make it happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like, oh, you can't make that happen because it's not legal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
but generally, like it just takes whatever you have and tries to go as far as it can with it, or as far as you want to go with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's dumb subjectively to certain people or not, it tries to go with it 100%.
Well, okay,
so yeah,
so with
go ahead,
ChatGPT, so what if like you're asking it shit? Like obviously stuff that's like a red flag. Like, what if someone's asking, like, how do I kill this person? Like what does the ChatGPT do in a sense like that? Because what if people are going to use it for?
I have an inkling that Anastasia has done that.
What? No.
I'm just kidding.
No, actually, I'm curious too. What does it do, really?
I mean, like
right,
you think it would red flag you, right? But yeah, I wonder what it would do.
No, yeah, because I actually was looking at ChatGPT because I was hearing it from you guys, and so I was like, all right, I'm out of boredom today. I was looking it up, and it was talking about it will reject any inappropriate like requests. So I'm like, well, how does it know it's inappropriate? So I don't want to go in there and ask, and all of a sudden tomorrow the Fed's at my door.
Yeah.
So there's that curiosity.
I think it will just not block you, but it might just be like unable to answer this question for this reason.
True.
I think
True. Maybe I'm just looking a little too hard into it. Maybe that's the simple answer, right?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I would not want to ask this because I don't want to mess up my digital footprint.
Yeah.
Right.
Just in case, like, the AI in the future, like, let me see what this person was talking about.
I mean, they're doing that right now with Twitter. Twitter's doing that for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Twitter's cool.
So let's say this is based off what you were talking about earlier too. Is there in development, or is there already like a ChatGPT that recognizes certain personalities and then groups them into like a social group, or like even like a dating app where they're like, oh, like a matchmaking AI based on like talking to you? Is there anything like that in the works?
Yeah, I think so I think the app Bumble, something like that. That's what it's called, like a dating app.
Yeah.
So I think for that one, it doesn't necessarily talk to you, but it has like a specific code that, like, let's say like you pick a person that you like, or like multiple people, so it automatically reads like what are similar like things that those 5 people have in common. So it's like, okay, this person probably likes this, and it will give you like this little like pop-up and be like, okay, we have an idea of what you like, so we'll show you more people like this. So that's when it comes to like dating. You can also like have like business connections there, and I think like best friends, like something. So it pretty much
in Bumble you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
pretty much Facebook. Like a cooler Facebook.
Yeah, so it does that, and then I think what are the other ones? They're good. Like app-wise, I don't use too many apps myself. I mean, I do genuinely think, like we talked about this, but like Replica, I mean, I think it's
Mhm.
great, even though they made it essentially into like a sex bot and stuff like that. Like, it's still like it's very interesting to talk to it. I don't know,
Hmm.
because
Right.
it just has really like cool algorithms, but I guess it wasn't selling, so that's why the developers had to make it into what it is, so people would download it more and things like that, because apparently people are like lacking intimacy in their daily life. So
Yeah, like I went on a thought tangent too. Like, I see like a reality where men, because first of all, just to make this thought more organized, I saw this study saying that like males aren't really like in relationships anymore. Like males around like mid-30s and below, like they're not married, they're not in relationships anymore. And that's kind of like a weird trend if you look at humanity. And I know there's that explanation of, everyone's kind of like independent and single now. I have a lot of girlfriends. I don't need one girlfriend. I don't believe in marriage. And that might just be justifying that you don't have a partner. You know what I mean?
possibly,
But I see now the reality of, since there's that, like that toxic masculinity of like, oh, bitch, just hold you down, this and that. I see that evolving into, oh, I just get a AI girl, man. She don't complain. You know what I mean? She sucks
Oh my
dick
God.
good. She don't complain.
How?
Yeah.
How does she do that?
So that might even like, it's funny. That might even be a reality where like males prefer fucking replica girls instead of real girls now. You know what I mean?
Or
Like, can you imagine going to the club and like seeing this girl you want to hit up, and it's like, nah, I'll just make her on replica, dude. Please.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, people already do this kind of stuff by like watching, like you go on Twitch and just like a bunch of girls, and they're like, sending like money or talking to them, or like OnlyFans and stuff like that. I mean, those are real people.
Yeah, Twitch is full of that now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they're essentially like acting like bots in a way, because they're like, they get paid and then they get told what to do, and it's a lot easier for men to like operate like that, for certain men, because it's like, it's just easier. Like, you don't have to deal with personalities and like any like human being qualities. So you just have like someone who you pay and they'll just do whatever you tell them.
I have a hypothesis. I have a conspiracy theory.
What is it?
I think AI, porn industries and tech industries, they're just learning from all these like female streamers and OnlyFans, and then eventually that's what they're gonna base Replica on, because it works. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's scary because it's proven
like
data,
the dark
man.
side of the AI.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I think there's even like there was news that came out today, and there was like a study that was done, and the researchers actually came to a conclusion that real people, like if there is like an AI like OnlyFans like and stuff like that, they came to a conclusion that humans will still like make more money and do better. So the human people will be more popular than AI people still.
But a human wrote that, right?
A human wrote that,
yeah. Oh no, maybe ChatGPT has something else to say about that.
Yeah. That's scary, but
that is scary because you're right, because even on like TikTok Live, I'll like scroll through there, like they just read the comments and they're essentially commands, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they won't interact with any of the comments unless you pay them like a gift or something, and then they'll do it. So essentially, that's like a token that you're putting in for like that fortune teller fucking game thing in the arcades.
Yeah, I mean, there's like in China, there are like specifically like streaming factories, so they would like literally have like a huge warehouse, and they have different people just like in their little spots, like dogs like sitting on those like mattresses, and they're pretty much just like all in a row, have like a tripod, the light, camera on them, and they just do streams, and Even now, like I go on TikTok and I see there's like one new very popular stream type, and it's like it's usually like those Chinese girls and stuff, and they're like laying in bed, and then like when you pay a specific amount, like so there's like a menu kind of, so like if you pay this much, it will like make a sound, and like a specific sound that will wake them up, like a quiet sound. But if you pay more, it'll be like a very loud sound, and it will just like make them wake up. And they're like, the girls are like faking it, so they're like sleeping, but they sound like babies. So it's like people pay like to bother them, and they all have to like wake up, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's
I see
fake,
that.
but it has like tens, thousands of viewers, and people are paying. It's like, what is this? Like, how do people find this entertaining? I don't understand, but a lot of people do. So
yeah,
people are into weird shit. That's what it is.
I've seen that blowing up too.
Yeah,
I've seen that blowing up, but yeah, people are into weird shit.
Yeah, it's just I even going on Twitch, I was just, you think it's going on gaming, you're like, what? A hot tub, jacuzzi, and it's just these girls in bikinis, and these dudes are just paying just to watch them in a jacuzzi. It's like, people are into weird shit, man.
80% of Twitch is like that, and a lot of men go like in depth too, and like they're like, let's say they have like girlfriends and stuff, their relationship gets destroyed because of this stuff. It's like an addiction, and they would like pretty much pay their whole salary. Like, it's real cases. I know people who told me like about stuff like that. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, we're streaming right now under the pool and spa category, so we're trying to get some audience. I'm just kidding. It's funny.
Trick the algorithm.
Yeah, throw a curveball at them. But yeah, I'm also gonna go out there and say I have a hypothesis. I think maybe 100 out of those 100 girls that are streaming on Twitch, maybe 8 of them are like, well, first of all, it's already a fact. Out of 100 of them, maybe 30% of them are pre-recorded, right?
Yeah.
So what's not to say that maybe 10% of that 30% might even just be an AI, like in high def, you know what I mean?
Like deep fake.
Yeah, deep fake, or like just not an AI, a bot, essentially.
Yeah, it could be like deep fake, or like a celebrity, for example, or like anyone. It's like people who don't want to show like their faces or anything like that, they can just use deep fake. And I mean, there's like so many accounts on TikTok now too that people like celebrities like deep fakes, and it looks pretty. I mean, I feel like I can recognize it for the most part, but if I post on like Instagram and I'm like, what do you guys like think, and people like think it's real and stuff. So.
Oh, that's what that is. I never put that together. I did see like
Tom Cruise, I think is real.
Kevin, what's his face? The little one. Damn, I can't believe I'm blanking out right now. But The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
I've seen like deepfakes of him. First of all, they were making like outrageous announcements on TikTok. I'm like, what the fuck, And then I didn't put it together until now that's fucking deepfake. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that was like a big deal too during when Trump was becoming a president or something like that, because apparently they used deep fake like for the campaign. Not that they used it, but like some other people used it and stuff to create like politicians like say certain things.
Oh yeah.
And it really wasn't them, and they would like show it to other countries and stuff. I'm sure like North Korea or something is using deep fake for sure, because they
for their propaganda for sure.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know if you guys heard, but today there was
Biden. You're talking about Biden, Jermaine?
Yeah, that Biden video.
Yeah,
that's crazy, right? We're in a matrix. No, yeah, I was watching that video earlier today, and it was like just how realistic it was, and how there was a lot of people who thought this was real. Like we were starting the draft, and people were like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? And then obviously got pointed out it's a deep fake, and it's just like how far, people. There's gonna be different people who's gonna use these AI to however they want, and that's the scary part. Most people nowadays are just like, oh, this is fun, but one day it's going to get to a point where someone's going to use it and kind of just manipulate things, and who knows where it could go. And I think that's where the fear for the AI is. It's not so much, oh, the robots are going to take over and, kill us. But it's just, how are we going to use this AI? Is it going to be a lot of foolery, or is it just going to be for fun?
Yeah, like it depends like who's using it and stuff because I think that's so important. Like even those like I was saying databases, like who creates that database with that knowledge, you know? Like who is it's like a well-known fact too, like in our history, the history is like written by people who essentially won the battles and stuff. You will never see like a history from a point of like the losing side, you know?
Exactly.
So those who won, they burned the libraries, they burned all the monuments, buildings, everything. They're like, that's it. I mean, essentially, like in North Korea, that's what they did because that their first president, he was part of the Red Army to the USSR. So he was just like a soldier. And they're like, you know, they decided like made a deal with US, and they're like, okay, we Russia get like North Korea and we get South Korea, US. So they kind of split it. So US has influence on South Korea, and then the North Korea is under Russia. But he was like, and they show people pictures and stuff that like completely photoshopped and everything because they don't want people knowing that he was in the Red Army, that he was just another soldier, and they kind of put him just as a puppet there. They think that he was great. But I mean, in Russian textbooks, you have all of these pictures, and you know what's actually happening. But people who live there, they don't. They think like he's just this great leader, but he was just put there by Russians. That's why like in North Korea, almost everyone is like fluent in Russian.
That's crazy.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, they act like they don't know, but they know Russian. Yeah.
So that brings up why I asked that question about, you know, if you had a bot looking for the secret fruit or whatever. Because like you said, the winners write the story. So let's say the people, because I mean, you guys would agree sometimes the wrong person wins, right? And so if the wrong person rewrites history, it erases the secrets that the right person had. So that brings me to what I asked you previously about what if the right person who lost had like, you know, there's this fruit that makes you healthy, right? And they erase that code. Let's say the winning team erased that code. As far as like a digital footprint goes in tech, is there any way to like, is there like an audit system to find out if someone erased anything, or are there some cases where you could delete something clean and you can't even tell that it was deleted? Like in that scenario.
No, so I think your digital footprint is pretty much forever. You'd have to like reset everything.
Oh wow.
Or yeah, so you can find anything. Like I mean, obviously, if you're like an average person, like user of like social media, you don't know how. But if you're like have like specific tools and stuff, and you work with the government, not even then. I mean, you have to be like really high-ranking person in the government to do that. Not even they allowed to. It's like you have. It's like people above that who. So yeah, you can pretty much find anything. That's why like. You need to be careful about your digital footprints and stuff, but not be too scared because we're all human, you know, like it's fine. That's why like it's the case like when a lot of politicians, they become, I mean, they put themselves like as candidates and stuff, and there's just like randomly like so much things comes out because they thought like it was all gone. And
I see.
So
wow.
It's there. It's always there. You just need to have. I mean, there's like specific companies too. They're 100% illegal, but they exist, and they're like the digital detective agencies. So they're fine.
That's fucking crazy. So to bring everything back in full circle, I posted this in the Cave of Wonders story, but. Deepfake. Right now, it's being introduced as funny, right? Like they're making Biden and Trump say funny things. But I said like it's funny until it's not funny. You know what I mean? And like this nuclear thing was a taste of that. You know what I mean? Like, let's say that came out, and let's say like North Korea took that seriously, it would have been on site. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
over a fucking joke. So that's like where like the hackers and like if Anonymous is real, like the people like Anonymous are very dangerous, because now with deep fake and AI, well, not AI. This is good because now I know not to say AI with a lot of things now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Trained model.
Yeah, bots have a new meaning to me now.
Smart
More
bot.
Droids.
Droids, yeah, it's a good one.
But yeah, like it almost back to the droids, and I'll finish my deepfake stuff. I was not done with the deepfake, but back to the droids. So that stuff in the movies where like, you know, if a robot gets hacked, you can rehack it in order to like reset it. That shit's kind of accurate then, right? So in that scenario of like the fruit, essentially you could, if you know something's up, you can hack it and rewind it in order for it to identify it if it was already uploaded to the database.
Yeah, you just need to know
That's
what
nuts.
for. That's why it's important to like share your stuff with like on different platforms, like different people, like maybe even like on older tech and stuff like that. So that way, if there is like something important, there's a way that you can. I mean, a lot of the times, if it's like really important, it will get just, you know, erased by someone because they don't want you to share certain information with the public. So that's why you create like something like private like clubs or something like that, you know. That's like that's why a lot of like wealthy people, they have their own like parties and clubs and organizations and stuff like that, because that's when you can share specific things and just keep it. Yeah.
So to build off of a digital footprint, I wanted to bring up the black market, or what is it called, like the Silk Road, right? Back in the day,
The dark web.
Dark web. Yeah, I guess dark web over the black market, the online black market. So with that, like, you obviously need like a proxy server because you can't have a digital footprint with that, right?
Yeah, but also I think to access a lot of them, they're not that hard to access. So it's almost like they on purpose made so simple, because a lot of people, I mean, it only takes like 5 steps really to access them, and it's I don't know, it's so easy that a lot of people don't even want to do it and stuff. I mean, you would have to have like a completely, like, if you actually have like something crazy like requests, or I mean like people, they have their own kind of servers just for that, like their own place just for that, and all the signals are blocked off and stuff. So it usually would be like running like tunnels underground, like physically underground and things like that. So only like certain people can like SSH to it, for example. So but the ones that are like now, they're like scams for the most part. So
yeah, I remember back then the way to access it was getting the Tor browser. And that was super popular, and that was the way to get to the Silk Road, where everyone just bought their drugs and things like that. And then you dive deeper, and then I remember in like because I was able to download Tor a long time ago, and I remember the instructions where you needed a VPN, so you had to use it to get in there. I don't know if that made a difference. And you know, you kind of just browse around, you get on the Silk Road, and you see drugs. It's just like, wow, it's just really
cheap
out there,
drugs.
and it's just crazy how to do. Yeah, like, and then there was this whole rumors of like how you can torture people, like traffic people, and there were like screenshots. And I don't know if I was on a website that showed it, but like I remember just kind of back then people were just posting these where to go online, like, you know, before the internet got, you know, the internet the way it is now really didn't take a long time if you think about it. But I remember back then you could just go to these random GeoCities websites where people were posting like, oh, visit this site. You loaded it in your Tor browser, you're like, what the fuck is this? You know? Yeah. And that's why like the whole dark web was like scary at my age. I was like, ooh, I don't want to go on there. You don't know what you're gonna find. And now you're saying it's easy to access. It's like, so what's so dark about it now? I mean, because I know the Silk Road was seized, Tor browsers heavily monitored now, and it's just like, so is there a dark web still, or is it all pretty much the same shit now?
So, like, to say about VPN, like, if you're using VPN, you're actually more vulnerable if you're not using it, because it all, like, saves and stuff. So, I mean, you'd have to use, like, really good VPN. Like, you can access things, but your digital footprint is out there still. Like, it's pretty obvious. So, you have to use, like, completely, like, different tools if you want to hide your identity, but it's still not that easy to do. Like, even if you use VPN, it'll probably be easier to find you if you use VPN. So,
what?
yeah, and then, yeah, because, I mean, it all operates, like, on a specific server and stuff, and then they just track from them. And then, about dark web, so I almost think, like, it's made like that on purpose, because we are, like, as humans, like, we're still, for the most part, like, most people, there's still, like, this, like, reptile brain. And you know how, like, in the past, people were enjoying watching, like, executions, or, like, if someone was, like, burned or beaten, you know, they would, like, get all these people to watch this, and people, like, it's in our DNA, almost, to enjoy, like, weird things like that. And it's, like, if you don't enjoy them, that's good, because, I mean, but if people being, like, honest, like, completely honest with themselves, like, if there's, like, a live stream, like, of, like, someone, like, beating someone, you might not enjoy it, but it will catch your attention and you will watch it. But some people, like, genuinely enjoy it, and that's, like, kind of still exists in people. We're not perfect, so that's why you have, like, these websites. I feel like that's the way for people to kind of satisfy that side of them, like,
that weird,
so that way they can just, like, you know, watch someone get, like, abused, or, for example, if that's what they go there for, and then they just go about their day and they feel okay with it.
Just go to work.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense, because there was this old website called Ogrish that I would go on, like, back when I was in middle school, and Ogrish would show you all these gruesome videos or pictures, and it was just ogrish.com, and it wasn't even on the dark web. And I remember watching, like, back then when the Taliban would, you know, on our war on 9/11 or whatever that was, and how they would capture soldiers, and I would seriously just sit there and watch a beheading video. Like, I didn't like it, but I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I'm scared, but I'm also, like, curious as to this is another side of the world we're not seeing, you know. And it's scary. Like, you see, like I said, I saw, like, cartel massacres or cartel, like, executions on that website, and it was just on. I'm sure that's not up now anymore, but I've seen so much crazy things on I wouldn't say early days of the internet, but just when it was getting crazy, where people were uploading videos. And I've seen a lot of fucked up shit, and it's not that weird. I liked it. I was just like, the curiosity.
Yeah, that's the curiosity that's present in most people, honestly, just because I mean, if not everyone, you're just curious about this kind of things, and it's really hard to just get rid of that feeling of curiosity, you know?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like, I don't like watching horror movies, but I'll watch them. I'll almost, like, watch them like this, you know what I mean? Because, like, I mean, I'm the same way. Like, when I watch injuries, like MMA injuries where, you know, they snap their legs, like, I hate seeing that. Like, but I want to watch that replay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like wrestling too, like WWE and stuff like that. Like, I used to like watching it, and, like, I don't like violence, but obviously it was fake. But I mean, it was just like, it's just cool to watch, you know, like, the anger that people have. They're just like, I mean, it's just interesting to watch that. So that's why, I mean, the news that we have every day, like, you go and watch news, and it's just like negative stuff, and then, like, at the end they put, like, oh, by the way, we had this, like, cool discovery in science, you know. They changes, like, the course of history, but, you know, who cares?
That is the formula. Yeah, you're right. Like, it's like
a drug.
Exactly
yeah, hey, this baby was killed, and it's based on that factor of, like, you know, I don't want to look, but I'm curious, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think,
because it's how to keep you watching.
Yeah.
For people, it's like, you know, people who, like, legit watch news every day and stuff like that, they're like, just like their daily dose of this negativity,
of stress and fear.
I'm good to go for the day.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
This is brought to you by Frosted Flakes. So is the dark web still a thing now, or like?
Yeah.
So my the reason I didn't want to go in it, I mean, like I had Tor, I had all that stuff, is because I had this idea that if you logged on to the dark web, you were tagged already. You know what I mean? And you were under the radar. Is that a myth? And like, is there a way to kind of browse the dark web without getting caught, or like, what's up with that?
I mean, see, that's why I had the VPN, because that's what I was told. Use a VPN. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about that, how many people access all of this kind of stuff? So nobody cares really, you know, what you do and stuff. You're just like one of the million. Like, and there's people who like legit do sick things on there. So like if like somebody wants to find these people, they will find them, but they're not just gonna sit there and look like, okay, who went on dark web today? You know, it's like they have so much like the other stuff to do, like even like FBI and stuff like that. It's like it's the least that they care about. So, I mean, if you did something like terrible, they have to track you. They'll find you one way or another. So
there's no like dark web branch of like the FBI, or there is, but they don't like.
There is.
There's like a bigger fish to fry type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like selling organs, you know, then. But you'll probably be a lot more careful than just going like, oh, it's VPN and on the browser and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
Let me put this on incognito mode.
People get like citizenships or stuff like that, and I mean, a lot of the times, like you know how you can't really hack a U.S. citizen and stuff, but you can hack like foreign people, so they would do it like through U.S. citizens or an opposite, they would just go somewhere else and like really hide and stuff. So there's just many different ways. But if you're just like curious, I mean, I'm not promoting it, you know, and whatever. I don't care for it as much, to be honest. Like I don't go there, so it's just nothing interesting.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I've always had that curiosity to look. I think I logged on just to like browse real quick, and I did a fast scroll, then I exited out, and I was like, oh, I made it. I didn't get caught.
No, that's how I was. I was like, gotta make it quick because you're paranoid. Had I known what you said now, I was like, they don't really care. I probably would have been more browsing it, but I remember it's like, gotta make it quick.
I'll be there tonight. I'll be there on fucking Replica and fucking dark web. I'm going crazy tonight online.
Bad influence here.
Yeah. That's funny. Are there now? This is what I wanted to tie into. Are there any applications for like the Oculus Rift and metaverse and dark web? Like, are there any of those?
Not that I know of, honestly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but a lot of people are using like chat. I mean, not ChatGPT. What is it? VR chat. For those type of things. Like, I mean, yeah, there's like a popular like furries and stuff. Like people who are like into dog stuff, whatever. So it's like things like that. There's like big rooms for that, and there's some like, let's say if you have like a Patreon and you pay a specific amount and you get access to this room on VR chat, and you just never know. Sometimes you could like people, there's like a big 2 or 3 YouTube videos that this person did like a huge investigation on all this stuff, and there's like pedophiles and all kinds of things. So it's not really dark web, it's more like
criminal shit.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to like track stuff in VR though, because yeah, I mean, it's just so weird. Like you can just delete your account and stuff like that. I mean, it'll be there obviously, but like if nobody even finds out, nobody like searches you, but like you keep changing your accounts all the time, so you'll be safe for a while until like you get someone's attention, you know, and they find you and stuff. It's really easy to find anyone. So. Yeah,
one last thing I'll say about ChatGPT, I watched a YouTube video on like the dark side of ChatGPT or whatever, and it showed like, I don't know if this was in the older model before an update, but it was able to pull someone's like license number, which I guess was illegal at the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I know I know the ChatGPT that we're seeing is very outdated to what they have now, and I'm sure like what they have now or what's under development right now is capable of way more and capable of that at least, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty crazy.
Yeah, it all depends. Like, probably they just didn't use like a secure database, so they probably attached the code to like a database that had like some kind of like user information from some app or something like that. Because there's like companies, you just pay like a monthly fee, for example, and they're like, here's like a bunch of data about like so much stuff, and it's not getting like filtered or anything like that. So it gets leaked sometimes.
Awesome. Well, we're hitting that hour and 55 mark. I wanted to end the podcast with just kind of asking you some questions to just get to know you. And because like, what you're interested in is pretty fascinating. Like, I'm really intrigued with like sci-fi and like tech and stuff. And you really broadened my perspectives on AI, tech, and just like VR and that metaverse scene. So I wanted to ask, like, do you have like a role model or like a hero that you look up to or try to kind of model your success, career, or journey around?
Honestly, no. I don't have like any role models really, or anyone that I look up to. It's more like the future version of me. I create those like scenarios that, you know how like each person creates those like fake scenarios in their head, like the way they would like respond to things like that. So I just try to like follow these scenarios in my head and be that cool person.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have a?
What about tech? Like,
go ahead.
Sorry. No, so I wanted to ask, like, so obviously, you know, you're very deep into all of this, and so my question was, what was something that made you say, this is it. This is what I want to get into? Because everyone kind of has that moment, right, where we find, did you pick up some sort of electronic and say, this is crazy, just because of technology behind it, or what was a driving factor for you to get engaged in this kind of industry?
So it's like strictly my imagination, because I was just imagining so much things before I even got into like reading sci-fi or anything like that. And then I started researching sci-fi more, and I realized that the authors who write sci-fi, they're essentially the creators of the reality that we know, like the cell phone, for example, first like written in a book, or the computers and all those things. They were first like just like a sci-fi books, even like the metaverse, like as a word, you know, it was first in the books. And then I realized that this is like where it all comes from. So, and that's essentially like the human culture, like it all shapes around that. So this is one thing, like in the world, when you kind of just don't know what is permanent, what is temporarily, like is your job temporarily, like will be taking over, but you will always know that being the person who researches, gets those ideas out there, you will be relevant for as long as the world exists, and you will always be important.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I think maybe actually movie. It's the one with Johnny Depp. He became like a machine. Like he died and stuff. He got shot. I forgot. Transcendence. Transcendation or Transcendence. Yeah.
Transcendence. Yeah.
I really like that one, but for shows, like I like Westworld a lot. Altered Carbon, good shows.
I just started Westworld. I actually started Westworld a while back, and I've been trying to get to the second episode.
That's amazing.
It's one of those shows you have to watch. You can't like look away, and you know.
Yes, it's so good. It's like my top. I love this show. It's amazing. And also, Black Mirror episodes are amazing too.
Black Mirror is crazy.
I love that show.
Speaking of AI, Artificial Intelligence is a good movie. AI. I like that one.
Yeah. That one kind of made the AI have emotions instead of like a cold-hearted killer. You know what I mean?
even
like Ultron.
the new Matrix movie, like the one that just came out like a year ago or something like that. It was pretty interesting because I know a lot of people did not like the movie and stuff, but I did like the fact that like if before they were showing how like the machines were against people, like, and then in the new one they were actually with people fighting like a common enemy, like those agents and stuff like that. So it's like the machines were controlled also, so they became free, and now they're joining the humans, and that kind of like Westworld series. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know what? I am a big fan of the Matrix. Like, I love the trilogy. So when I first saw this fourth one, I was like, this is so stupid, because I think what I wanted from the Matrix was like the karate scenes, the slow motion. So I hated that Neo was just kind of doing this to the machines and it was stopping them. But I rewatched it recently and I actually appreciated it more because I liked how they really incorporated like modern society and how we incorporate tech into their world, you know, because essentially that's what it is. Like, obviously the programs are going to upgrade, right? And they're gonna adapt and learn from being destroyed the last time. So they're kind of a new software, new version of it. Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty cool. There's a lot of gems too if you're really into tech and video games. So
yeah, the fact that like pretty much like reality is like a video game.
Yeah.
And then like the people that you meet, avatars, pretty interesting.
Have you seen the Matrix came out with like an anime in between? Have you seen the Animatrix?
I think I started watching and I fell asleep. I do want to rewatch it. Is it good? Do you recommend it?
You know what? I think so, because it's one of those. It's a movie, but it's a movie that's split up into like maybe 5 short films. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
But I think a few of them are better than the other. But the first one definitely is one I think you should watch.
Okay. I'll watch it.
It's about, I think they created a robot, which I think it's artificial intelligence because it makes up its own decisions. But they kind of pushed the trigger too early. They created these bots that we have now, but they incorporated AI. So kind of what people think is going on now, but what actually went on with AI. And I think one of the robots got abused. And so the other robots noted that, and they kind of try to fight for robot rights. And then so there was a civil war between the robots and the machines. And then like obviously that escalated to the humans resorting to their back pocket card, which is nuke.
I think like people have a lot to learn from what you just said, because like it's nice, you know, like kind of like ride or die for each other, versus like us people, like a lot of people, like they hear something they don't agree with and they're so quick to throw this person under the bus or like be jealous and stuff, or like the effect like when someone gets like beaten on the street and stuff, like, you know, this psychological experiment that nobody calls the cops because they automatically think like, oh, someone else did it or someone else will do it. So I feel like we have a lot to learn from those machines, like the compassion for each other, like just from the movies, you know. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, that one's one to watch. If you watch it again and you don't have the attention span for it, I would just watch that first one. I think it's the first one that comes on.
The first one's good. Yeah, I'll check it out.
And my last question, I feel like I know the answer to this, but if you could, would you upload your consciousness into a cloud? You would? I would have put money on that one. Yeah, I have like my little to-do list, like the things that I want to do in life. And like one of them is to not necessarily upload, but to have like a clone of me. I think it would just be cool if my best friends just help me do things, and there's another version of me that's me. And we can just be more effective together, have more fun. I think that's cool. Funny. I don't know if I would. I feel like...
Would you?
Yeah. You know what? Probably not.
Too scared, or is there any other reason?
Just because I feel like if someone were to speak to that AI thinking that it was me and like it updates and it doesn't really share my beliefs anymore, like my consciousness is like not the updated version of this new Jarizi tech, then it's not really me anymore. You know what I mean? It didn't evolve like how I would have evolved. It evolved into something else.
That's an interesting concept. Yeah, so I think like for that not to happen, you just always have to keep training it. So that's why I think not everyone should even, like, if there's an option, upload it, because a lot of people would just leave it there. So that's something that always like requires attention. You always have to upload certain things or have some kind of like I mean, the consciousness, like even now a lot of scientists are coming to conclusion that our consciousness is not just something like from like ether, like this out of this world like experience. Like it's actually connected to our bodies too, and the way we like eat, for example, affects the way we think. Even like it's just like little things like the way we feel like comfort in our body, that also affects our consciousness, because we start to think more positively. We have new connections and stuff. So I think it would have to be, if it's just like strictly online, I don't know, maybe I would think twice. But like if I have like a physical thing to put it in, like a clone or like something, then I would feel more comfortable with that, honestly.
I think I'd rather me be uploaded into something more like a R2D2 or like a dog type of not speaking, which is beep, 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 beep. You know, and you figure out what I say. Maybe that.
Experience life as like a different species or something.
Maybe that. I'd have to be in my will under the fine terms.
Yeah.
What about you, Jermaine? Would you get uploaded?
I think yes and no. I think yes, because it gives you a chance to kind of remain there for your ancestors, or you're like, you know, just for people to like family, just descendants that are constantly, they can, it's like you never left kind of thing. But then, like you said, it's what happens in the future when things constantly update. What if like you're not fit for it or anymore, and what happens to it? Or what if someone gets a hold of it and tries to manipulate it and try to paint a different image of you by training it? You get what I mean? By like rewriting history or things like that. Your
grandnephew fucks with you. You're fucking the con.
Yeah, you know, you never know. But like, I think it's interesting to do so just because you could. But it's like what in that Jurassic Park movie is like, you were so caught up in thinking that you could, you never stopped to think whether you should. You know. So yeah. I think that's something to think about. But I think it'd be cool. But then I can't even comprehend in my head how the hell you can upload your consciousness. So
yeah, that's
I think we're gonna have to leave that up. That's not gonna happen in our period. So maybe it'll happen later on, but it ain't happening now.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even really know what consciousness is, really. You know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would do the what is it in Vanilla Sky? Isn't that the premise for Vanilla Sky? Upload his consciousness, or did he cryo himself?
So long.
One of the two. I don't know.
I vaguely remember that movie. I remember seeing it, but I just remember he got in a car accident or something.
Yeah, movie's nuts. But yeah, that wraps it up. Anastasia, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being patient too and through the technical difficulties we've had.
That's
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Is there anything coming up for you that we can follow, and where do we find you online?
So you can just find me on Instagram. I have my new account, so it's the one that you put, yes. And then I will have all my new projects there. I'm not very active on social media, but now I should be, as in having more projects, and I think a lot of people would be interested in, and maybe we can work together on certain things. I'd be happy to.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, we would love that. All right, guys.
Yeah, what kind of projects are those, just for anyone listening real quick? Like what kind of projects maybe you could share real quick for anyone that maybe like, okay, I'm going to give you a follow so they can wait on that.
Yeah, so the first one, that's the most immediate one, I'm working on like a transparent cards that have symbolism, because that's the way to talk to your subconscious mind. And sometimes like you need to organize your thoughts better, and you don't even know what are you feeling deep inside, what are you thinking. You need to clear your mind and know the direction for, or like even like come up with a creative project you need to know your associations with it so you're more in touch with the process. So me and a couple of artists were creating this. So this will be coming out pretty soon. We have most of the designs, so it'll be like a cards that you can stack. And then you also have like expansion packs, like matrix, architecture, and it will have like a booklet that will tell which like combination, what they all mean, and how to understand yourself better and generate better ideas. And then the second project that's in the workings is going to take a while, but me and Amanda, she's a software engineer, and also we have a psychologist who will be working with people either individually or in groups. It will be more like a private Discord group where you can pretty much learn how to generate ideas, unlock your brain with many like biohacking or tools. We'll give recommendations based on your, and then maybe possibly in the future, that's my goal, to have this database that's completely safe, not shared to anyone, and maybe connect you to the right startups. And so that way you actually enjoy your life and not just doing like 9 to 5 or something. You actually utilize your creative skills or any other skills, and you get connected to the right people who need those.
Damn, those are big things.
It is. It's going to
those
be
are some crazy projects.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty big, but I think once I have like a bigger team also, which I'm glad I'm in this field too. So it's all coming together. I'm very excited to have that.
That's awesome. That's at _obvious 3000. No space on that, guys. Go follow Anastasia on Instagram. Stay tuned for her big projects. And if you want to continue the conversation, guys, make sure you join our Discord. Go deeper down the rabbit hole on anything we've discussed. You can find a link on our website and join now because it might not be free in a few months. I don't know.
Yep.
We'll see.
That's good.
Yeah, let's get it while
all
you
this
can.
Information. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone, if you follow me, don't be scared to message. I can talk about anything. I love talking to people, making new connections. And yeah, I'm also on the server, Discord server.
Yeah, she's newest member in there.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
maybe we'll do more talks in the future too.
Love to have you on
Love
again.
to have you back. Open door policy in the cave. Well, there you have it, guys. Anastasia, we went deep down about tech and the future of VR, and we got digital. Thanks for coming on. See you guys.
Thank you.
And on to the next one.
Later, everyone.
See you. Bye.